Hello and welcome to the Joy Corner. I'm Carol DeChaine, your intuitive spiritual guide for practical matters. And this time, in this mini lesson, which is usually 10 to 15 minutes or so, unless I get carried away, the subject is when to let go of toxic people. And I guess also when to realize who they are, but when do you let them go? And that's, for me, it's a really good question because you have people in your life that what are they toxic? Are they not toxic? And how when do you let go? The next one is going to be how to let go, but this one is when. You may have someone in your life that's a relative or a worker that you work with, which is a little harder to let go of them because they're there all the time. You may have people that are your boss. It could be a spouse, unfortunately, a parent. It could be anybody, even a child, once they grow up. So if you're looking at people, how do they make you feel? Toxic to me is someone who either puts all of their being on top of you so you feel like you're being smothered to death because you can't be your true self. You can't speak your truth. You can't be who you think you are or who you hope you are because they are basically pushing you down, maybe abusing you. They're doing something, verbal abuse, mental, whatever. And you feel that you just can't be who you are, basically. There's also toxic people that are maybe out here, but you feel like you're being attacked outside rather than being smothered because maybe they're not a spouse or a parent who you're living with. They might be a friend that is not there for you, that's a little odd, they always have to be their way or the highway. I mean, different people that you go, a relative who is really annoying for whatever reason. And you go, you have to look at why do you think these people are toxic? Why do you decide what the people in your life that aren't working for you and then figure out, and it doesn't take a lot of work sometimes because it's kind of glaringly obvious for a lot of them. What is it about that person that makes you feel like they aren't good for you? I mean, you might not use the word toxic, but they're people that basically feel like they're poisoning you. That's what toxic is. You feel like you cannot be who you are and that you're being drained of life, of selfdom because they are being toxic. Who are they? Who are those people that you feel are that way? And when do you decide to get rid of them? Do you decide? Who are they? Are they someone in your life that's periphery? Those are the easy ones to get rid of. Are they a relative you see once a year? You never have to talk to them if you don't want to. Don't answer phone calls. Don't text back. Or if you do, if they call 3 times, talk to them once. If they text you a long line of garbage, if you're in a family group chat and you see all of their junk and you go, not responding to that, you shouldn't even feel like you have to defend yourself a lot of times because it's garbage. I mean, if it's something that you absolutely need to say something about, you can always talk to other people that they're projecting their stuff onto if it's about you personally. If it's about you personally and you want people to know the truth, that's different from them being toxic for in general about the world. And sometimes people are just negative. And they're always negative in your opinion. And so it's really hard to want to, when do I let this person, can I let this person go? And when do I do it? And the can is always yes. You can always let someone go. It's just how you go about doing it, which is the next one. The next one I do. But this one is when do you let go? And when you let go is basically when you feel there's one, which is the ultimate, when you can't feel you cannot take this anymore. This is really bad for me. That's the ultimate got to do it now. And you have to figure out a way to do it. If they're close, I mean, I had a toxic boss, in my opinion. For me, it was toxic. And I had two. One was minimal, and that was just, I was young and it was annoying more than toxic. But when I was offered to work for her full time, and I said no because I was a floater. And it was great because I got to know how every single person was as a boss. And she was the worst, in my opinion at the time, talked down to me, didn't, it was like, ah. So I said, I didn't really want to work for her, but 3 other people needed a secretary at the time. I was a legal secretary, and so I got a choice, and I got to work for the big boss. It was great. It was interim, but that was fine till they found somebody. And then, you know, but the other one was obviously at one point I was like, I'm working for this person, and I finally had to quit. And I'd never done anything like this. I decided I told them I was retiring early, but it was because of the toxic environment with that particular, well, 2 bosses that were there. That one was a boss, and the other one was a lawyer, so she considered herself my boss too. But I mean, there are people that you get to a certain point and you go, I can't do this anymore. And it hopefully it doesn't, you don't let it get that far. But if it does, when do you do it? That's one time. The next time you might do it, another time you might say, it's time to let go this person go. It's just an incident that happens. And you look back and you go, look at all the other times this person made me feel however they made me feel. It made me feel less than. They made me feel unseen, unheard, whatever it is. And you go, I don't want that person in my life. So, but it could be just an incident that sparks that. And they may think you're blowing things out of proportion, but when you look back at everything else, you go, no, it's time. And that could be just somebody that you go, I don't want them in my life now because this is the past. But it could be somebody that gets you up to here and it's constant up here for you. And it could be somebody that one incident reminds you of all the other times and then you go, I'm done. The other times that maybe when it's time to let go is when they do or say something that it kind of other people see you differently because of it. So if they are doing or saying something or acting on something where everybody else goes, "Oh my God, you're this person. I didn't know you were this person," and that person said it, that's when you need to repair this if you want to keep it and let that person go. And maybe talk to them and tell them you're toxic. You are a poisonous, horrible person. Maybe not in those words, but however you want to say it to make them go away. Because some people, you just have to speak your truth over. And if it's time, it's time. But you may not want to wait that long until it's time and something major happens. You may want to distance yourself sooner. So look at all the people that make you uncomfortable in your life. How much of an important part do they play? Because that will tell you when it's time to let them go. Is it time now? Is it time maybe if they do 1 or 2 more horrible things to you or say 1 or 2 more horrible things? So you pull away? Do you just go cold turkey? I mean, there's ways to do it, which, like I said, I'll talk about next time. But when is when you need it to be done. And sometimes you need to do it sooner than you think. A lot of times we're so kind, we want to give people more chances. And other times they just do too many things and you go, I'm done. Gone. Can't do it. Can't deal with it. Look at yourself. See who those people are. See if you think it can go longer than where it's at. If it needs to be changed in your relationship with them, and then you'll be okay. Or if you need to figure out a way to let them go. Because you don't need those kind of people in your life unless you're learning something from them. If they're a lesson for you to look at things differently, to feel different about yourself, to give you more, to take your power back, maybe that's why they're in your life because you're letting everybody else kind of drain you. And you go, no, I need to do something for myself. But that person taught you that. So once you realize, this is the interesting thing, once you realize what your lesson is with that person who's feeling toxic to you, then you can let them go. But not only that, but sometimes that person no longer is toxic because they've agreed to be toxic to you. This is what I believe. Before you come on this planet, you're supposed to learn this lesson. They agree to be the toxic person so you can learn it. And then when you learn it and you go, oh, they totally change. And you go, oh, that person was nicer than I thought they were. Because they no longer have to teach you the lesson you just learned. They can go back to being maybe wonderful around other people, but really a pain around you. And you go, oh, I learned my lesson and now they're different. What happened? If you stick around long enough to figure that out. So let me just say, only you know when it's the right time to let go of someone. Whether it's a close friend, a coworker, a boss, a spouse, I mean, whoever it may be, if you find them toxic to you and you feel almost poisoned around them, you feel weaker, you feel like you're exhausted all the time, those are the people that are not your people. They are not your people. Learn whatever lesson you need to learn and get the heck out of Dodge, because you don't need to move. You just need to shift your emotions, your perspective, your intention, and that person may leave. But you need to decide when it's time. When you can't either take it anymore or when you go, I don't need to have this in my life. Be strong. Because if you have your own power and you decide what you want to do, you don't need to be rude and horrible about it. You just need to know when. When is it time? And when it's just like when it's time to get rid of an object in your house. When is it time to let someone out, push them out of your life gently or let them go? Because toxic things and people are not what you need. You need to find more joy, and having them in your life, unless you're learning a lesson from them, is not going to be something that's going to bring you joy. Learning the lesson is freeing. Maybe not joyful, but it's freeing when you figure out what's going on and what you need to know. And if you have an aha moment with that person, and I've done this where in my brain I've gone, oh my God, that person is such a pain in the, you know what? But now I know why. I needed to learn this. Oh my God, this is so great. And then I turn around and I thank that person. Thank you in my head. I don't necessarily say it out loud. Thank you for showing me this, because now I can adjust who I am to be a better person for me. I'm happier. And then that person might go away, or you might act differently to them. And all of a sudden there's this is no longer this, because you stop fighting them and they just go, wait, what happened? They have to find somebody else to argue with if that's their part of their learning process, or they just become this super different person than what they were before. Don't be afraid to know when it's time to get rid of toxic people, because you deserve to have more happiness and joy in your life. And if they're sucking it you dry, then that's not them. Thank you for listening today. If you'd like to hear more, please subscribe and click the bell notification if you want to know when the next video comes out. And there are plenty of podcasts that I'm pulling out, archived podcasts, and they're coming out every other week. And this mini lesson comes out on the opposite weeks at 7 a.m. on a Sunday, so you can listen anytime you want. And there are tons of them out there, because I think I've done this for 5 or 6 years now. So it's every week. There's a lot. There's meditations, there's I am affirmations, there's the podcasts, and there's these little new mini lessons. Until next time.